What if I told you the next great leap for the sports car, the one that finally silences the skeptics, won't come from a bigger turbo or a cleverer gearbox? What if it comes not from the engine bay, but from the battery box? The electric revolution is here, of course, but let's be brutally honest. It hasn't quite captured the hearts of those who live for the smell of high-octane fuel and the scream of a naturally aspirated V12 at 9,000 RPM. We've been promised the world, but the reality has been a compromise. A trade-off between blistering straight-line speed and the dynamic, engaging feel that defines a true driver's car. It's a compromise we've been forced to accept, but maybe, just maybe, not for much longer. We are standing on the precipice of a genuine paradigm shift. The technology that promises to do this is called the solid-state battery. It sounds terribly dull, I know, like something a lab coat would get excited about, but trust me, its implications for those of us who worship at the altar of apexes and throttle response are nothing short of monumental. This is the key that could unlock the true potential of the electric sports car. Imagine a future where an electric Ferrari is not just as fast as its petrol-powered predecessor, but lighter, more agile, and capable of lapping the Nürburgring without a hint of overheating or a crippling fear of running out of juice halfway round. Let's be blunt about the current state of play. Modern electric sports cars are astonishingly quick off the line. The instant torque is a party trick that never gets old, pinning you to your seat with a force that feels almost unnatural. But once that initial shock and awe wears off, the cracks begin to show. The biggest problem, the one you can feel in every corner and under every braking zone, is weight. Current lithium-ion batteries are monumentally heavy. They are, quite literally, the electric elephant in the room. This mass blunts a car's agility, dulls its steering feedback, and punishes its tires and brakes. It's the enemy of everything a great sports car should be: nimble, responsive, light on its feet. Then there's the waiting. We love driving our cars, not sitting next to them in a soulless service station car park for an hour while they slowly sip electricity. Even the quickest systems require a stop that feels like an eternity compared to a 5-minute splash and dash for petrol. For a proper Sunday morning blast through the countryside or a dedicated track day, it's a deal breaker. The spontaneity is gone, replaced by meticulous logistical planning. This leads us to the dreaded range anxiety. It's a very real phenomenon that fundamentally alters how you drive. Instead of chasing the red line, you find yourself chasing efficiency, lifting, coasting to preserve precious miles. That's not driving, that's managing a resource. A car that promises 300 miles of range can see that figure halved if you dare to enjoy its performance, turning a thrilling drive into a nail-biting limp to the nearest charging point. So what exactly is this miracle cure? What is a solid-state battery? To understand it, you first need to know about batteries in today's electric cars. A conventional lithium-ion battery uses a liquid electrolyte to move lithium ions between the anode and the cathode. Think of this liquid as a chemical swimming pool that the energy-carrying particles have to paddle through. It works, but it's bulky, it's heavy, it contains flammable materials, which is why current EV batteries are encased in massive, heavy-duty protective structures. It's a compromise born of necessity. A solid-state battery gets rid of that liquid electrolyte entirely. It replaces the swimming pool with a thin, solid layer, like ceramic or glass or polymer. This solid electrolyte can still transport lithium ions, and it does so far more efficiently and safely than the liquid counterpart. It's a fundamental re-engineering of the battery's core chemistry. It's not just an improvement, it's a complete change in philosophy. By removing the liquid, you remove many long-standing limitations. This is the key that unlocks a whole new world of possibilities. The solid electrolyte is far more stable and far less prone to catching fire. This inherent safety means you don't need heavy, complex cooling systems or thick protective armor around the pack. Straight away, you're saving a huge amount of weight and complexity. Furthermore, this solid structure allows for cleverer chemistry. One of the most promising is a pure lithium metal anode. Using one could dramatically increase the energy a battery stores in a given space. It's like swapping a pint glass for something much bigger on the inside. Same external size, but vastly greater internal capacity. This is the secret sauce. It's a denser, safer, and structurally simpler way of storing and delivering electrical power. The number one advantage, the one that should have any driving enthusiast sitting up and paying attention, is energy density. This is the magic metric. It's a measure of how much energy can be packed into a certain amount of space or weight. Solid-state batteries promise a colossal leap forward here. Estimates vary, but we could be looking at batteries that are twice as energy dense as the best lithium-ion cells available today. For a sports car, this translates into two hugely exciting possibilities. Either you get a car with the same range as a current EV, but with a battery that's half the size and half the weight, or you keep the battery the same size and get double the range. Let's focus on the first option, because for a sports car, less weight is the holy grail. Imagine shedding 400 kilograms from a car like the Porsche Taycan. That's the weight of 5 adults. The transformation in handling would be utterly profound. The car would turn in more sharply. Its steering would feel more alive with feedback. It would feel more willing to change direction. Brakes would be more effective. Tires would last longer. It would feel less like a heavyweight bruiser and more like a lightweight dancer. Then there's the charging speed. The stable, solid structure of these batteries means they can handle much higher rates of charge without degrading or overheating. While today's fastest chargers might get you from 10% to 80% in around 20 minutes, solid-state technology could slash that time to under 10 minutes. That's getting tantalizingly close to the time it takes to fill a tank with petrol and grab a coffee. This single improvement would vaporize range anxiety. A quick stop would no longer be a tedious chore, but a brief, manageable pause, making long-distance touring or back-to-back track sessions a genuine reality for the first time. Finally, there's the issue of longevity and consistent performance. Because solid-state batteries are more stable, they don't degrade as quickly. For a performance car, this also means they can deliver peak power for longer without overheating. You could drive flat out for lap after lap without the car's brain intervening. This means consistent, repeatable performance you can rely on, whether you're on your first lap or your 10th. The impact of solid-state batteries extends far beyond just performance metrics and charging times. It will fundamentally change the way sports cars look and are built. For decades, car design has been dictated by the mechanical package: the engine, the transmission, the fuel tank, the exhaust. Current EVs have swapped the engine for a motor, but they've introduced a new dictator: the massive, flat, rectangular battery pack. This skateboard platform is efficient, but it also imposes a thick floor and a long wheelbase, which can lead to cars that look a bit generic and sit higher than we'd like. Solid-state technology blows these constraints wide open. Because the cells are safer and more energy dense, they no longer need to be confined to a single monolithic block under the floor. Designers and engineers will have the freedom to break the battery pack up into smaller modular units and distribute them around the car. Imagine placing battery modules in the sills, in the transmission tunnel, or even vertically behind the seats. This would allow them to fine-tune the car's weight distribution and center of gravity with a precision that has never been possible before, not even with a petrol engine. And this newfound freedom will usher in a new golden age of car design. We could see the return of incredibly low, dramatic supercar silhouettes that simply aren't possible with today's thick skateboard chassis. Think of a car with the impossibly low profile of a classic Lamborghini Countach, but with an electric powertrain. Designers could create cars that are not just beautiful but also aerodynamically superior without having to compromise on battery capacity. The battery will no longer be a design problem to be hidden, but a flexible component that can be integrated into the very structure of the car, enhancing both aesthetics and dynamics. Furthermore, this modularity allows for the recreation of classic sports car layouts. Want to build an electric successor to the Porsche 911 that retains its signature rear-biased weight distribution? You could concentrate the bulk of the battery modules at the back of the car to mimic the feel of a flat-six engine hanging out behind the rear axle. Want to create a front mid-engined GT car with perfect 50-50 weight distribution? You can place the modules accordingly. Solid-state batteries will give engineers the tools to imbue electric sports cars with the distinct handling characteristics and personalities that we currently associate only with specific combustion engine layouts. Now, for a sobering dose of reality, you won't be walking into a Porsche dealership or Ferrari dealership and buying a solid-state powered car tomorrow, or next year, or probably the year after that. The road from a promising laboratory prototype to mass production is long, winding, littered with enormous challenges. The single biggest hurdle right now is manufacturing. Making a handful of these batteries in a cleanroom environment is one thing. Producing millions of them on an automotive production line is a completely different challenge. Reliably, affordably, monumentally more difficult. The materials themselves present a problem. The solid electrolytes are often brittle ceramics, difficult to produce in the large sheets required, thin sheets required, flawless sheets required for a car battery. Any tiny imperfection can lead to failure. Automating this process and achieving necessary quality control at scale is an engineering puzzle of the highest order. Companies are investing billions to crack this, but it's a slow and painstaking process. They are inventing entirely new manufacturing techniques from scratch. That takes time, money, trial and error. Then there is the unavoidable issue of cost. Right now, solid-state batteries are prohibitively expensive to produce. The raw materials can be costly. The complex manufacturing processes add significantly to the price tag. For the technology to be viable beyond a multi-million-pound hypercar, the cost per kilowatt-hour needs to come down dramatically. So, when can we realistically expect to see these wonder batteries? Most industry experts are pointing towards the end of this decade. Toyota, BMW, Volkswagen Group, around 2028 to 2030 for the first limited production vehicles. Widespread adoption in mainstream sports cars will likely follow in the early 2030s. There will be setbacks, and these timelines could slip. It's a marathon, not a sprint. The promise is real. The investment is there. But patience will be required before we can all get behind the wheel. Let's allow ourselves to dream for a moment. Fast forward to 2029. Forget the challenges and imagine the unveiling of the first true solid-state supercar. Perhaps it's a Ferrari, bearing a new legendary name. It's impossibly low and wide, unconstrained by the packaging of a V12 engine, unconstrained by a bulky battery pack. The doors scissor upwards, a minimalist driver-focused cabin revealed. There are no compromises here. Designed from the ground up to exploit this new technology. This is the car that has to convince the doubters. The specifications on paper are of course ludicrous. Not the 0 to 60 time, not the top speed, it's the weight. 1,400 kilograms. Lighter than many petrol supercars. You press start, a low hum signals readiness, pulling away, immediacy and no inertia. The car feels alive and incredibly light on its feet. Every tiny steering input gets an instant proportional response, analog, mechanical even, unlike any EV before. You point it at your favorite winding road, it stays flat and balanced through corners, pivoting around your hips. You can feel the texture of the road through the steering. Get on the power, instant, manageable, progressive. After an hour, glance at the range indicator. You've barely used a third of the battery. There's no anxiety, no compromise. Turn back and do it again or continue another 100 miles. This is the moment of conversion. Even the most ardent petrol head concedes, not just replacement, but improvement. Delivers thrills, delivers engagement, delivers emotional connection, adds precision, adds performance, adds freedom. This technology won't just change sports cars, it will save them for a new generation.